There we are. We're live. All right, guys. What's going on? Hello everyone.
Hey, what's going on?
All right. Wenger, how you doing,
Yeah.
brother?
Happy Good Friday.
Oh, it is. Is it good for I don't keep up with that shit. I mean, we're in a global pandemic. I don't there could literally be the dead arising.
Yeah,
After that.
today's the day that Jesus Christ died for your sins.
Well, I don't mean to sound ungrateful because I'm still alive and still sinning. Yeah, so
Yeah, it's
well
okay. You're forgiven.
well thank you, Wenger. Don't you die for my sins, but I certainly appreciate it. But Wenger, how are you, man? You doing the super harem thing? It looks like the community has risen behind you, and they've embraced your book, which I see some people trying to slight you and say that your book's stupid or whatever. I mean, well, first of all, just tell people what Super Harem's about. The link is in the description, and obviously, if anyone to the matter of fact, you got a caller Oro
Yeah, we
variant cover that is doing pretty well for you on the Indiegogo, as well as the other campaign, which is still up. I saw you had like over $22,000 in sales on that one,
yeah
and this
we're
one.
doing very well. We got Joe Ball on the interiors, and we
Okay,
got
yeah,
a special new cover from Carl. I can
yeah.
screen share it if you
Yeah,
want.
please. Let's do this. Okay, hold on. Let me set you up there, brother. All
Yeah,
right.
so Super Harem is a superhero story, a superhero love story, and it's about a guy. His name's Tim, and he has this weird power that any woman he sleeps with gets superpowers.
I have a weird power where any woman I sleep with starts dating women. I've had that happen a few times. So
Well,
that's unfortunate.
yeah. Well, we all have our abilities, I guess.
Yeah, or lack thereof.
Yeah.
So yeah, okay. So how did you come up with that idea? Because that is definitely a unique idea.
I don't even remember how it happened because I started doing it as a web comic like 10 years ago.
Oh, so you've had
And
this idea for a while.
yeah, it's
Okay.
funny. I guess it ended up like One Punch Man because I gave the art that I made to Joe and he just redrew it. So you can actually get the version I drew for $10 as a ash can as an add-on. So if you want to see, like, you can see two different versions of this comic. But there's
That's
a
a good
huge
looking cover from
yeah,
Carl.
that's the special Carl cover. This is only available for 2 weeks, so we're going to take
Oh,
this.
okay. So you just run it for a little while.
Yeah, this is a very limited cover, a very limited alternative cover for 2 weeks. You can get it, and then there's going to be no more.
Okay. Okay. Let's see you. I
But
see you
so
out there.
what happens is Tim he's in love with Sophie. So way in the back you see the girl with the gold hammer. That Sophie, when she realizes that he has this power and now she's imbued with these powers, she takes on this superhero identity called the Valkyrie. But then what they learn is that using these powers, they actually come from hell, and when you use them, there's a chance of it summoning a giant monster.
Oh
So
wow.
there's a
Okay.
huge downside, and so
That definitely sounds like it. Yeah.
yeah. So Sophie leaves Tim heartbroken, and he spends an untold amount of time alone and sad. And then he hooks up with the Journey is the real main character. You see her here. He hooks up with this crazy chick at a party, and she thinks it sounds cool to fight these giant monsters. So she starts like using them to purposely summon a monster,
Okay.
and that's where the story really starts. That's the the build up. We have a lot of cool mystery and romance and action and comedy. Like it's everything you would want in a comic.
Mm, okay. That just sounds groovy. I like that.
Yeah, and
Okay.
you can see Joe's interior art is great. What we have a bunch of finished pages on the campaign, so you can read a lot of the comic and see what you think about it before you even buy.
Who's doing your colors?
That is Farrah Normaliza. She's a rising star right now. She's on a lot of comics right now.
Okay. I think I saw, what was it? Eric Weathers' Battle Brick Road.
Yeah, I think she is on that.
I know she. Yeah, I thought I saw her signature on it because I was like, I've heard that name. I might be mistaken, but I thought she colored that cover, which I love that Battle Brick Road cover that Eric Weathers drew. So
Yeah, I mean, look at this. Like her colors with Joe's line art, like it's really almost like the Beatles coming together. It goes together so well.
yeah, it's a good job. Actually, yeah, I like it. Yeah, very very nice because the colors should take the great art and then just pump it up even more. So
Yeah, but this is what CG likes. It's a fun original superhero story, and there's a
yep.
lot of tropes that go back to like classic superheroes. Like the city they live in is a fictional city, but it's a character almost to itself in the vein of like Gotham or Metropolis. So they live in this like southern beach town called Apollo Beach.
Well, no,
And
now I got to ask you this: is it real Gotham, real Metropolis, i.e., the comic book universe, or is it that goofy CW Metropolis in Gotham that is like everybody is like soy, beta male, trans, whatever, all this weird stuff that happens on all the CW superhero shows?
well, this is a normal classic superhero story. It's Comics Gate. So the characters
Aha! Yeah.
are normal people that you would meet in real life.
Oh, that's sexy. I like that. Okay. Okay, so nobody's gonna come to none of these characters are like they're like trying to trick you. They're like, hey, I'm trans. It's like
No, the way the power works is that would work anyway because it's like a magic spell that requires a womb. So you have to have a womb to open up this portal to hell.
now I have to ask you: are any of the young women that your main character Tim that he has relations with? Does he have relations with any of the women, and then they change races or any of that? Because I think that would be interesting. It's like I'd like to see, like, say your main woman here in the front, like he could do things with her, and then all of a sudden she comes out with like an afro or whatever, and she's a black woman. Um, that was I always am interested in stuff like that because I had Steve Englehart on my channel last year in January, and we were talking about because Steve was just he created like Star Lord and Mantis and Misty Knight and Shang-Chi Master of Kung Fu. He created all these characters. He wrote the Laughing Fish story that they used on Batman the animated series, the Joker Fish thing. He created all that stuff, and we were talking about how a couple of times he took over comics and there were like black characters in there and they were trying to get rid of them, and then he was like, no, I don't want to do that. But we started talking about, especially over DC, some of the weird racial storylines that they had, and he was trying to defend the goodness of the well intent of the writers when they created these stories. But I pointed out one that he could not defend, where it was a Lois Lane story where she went to like the Fortress of Solitude and like became a black woman, and then went to Harlem and stuff. And he was like, "Oh, okay, so I can't defend that one because that one was weird."
Yeah,
And
I
like,
actually know what you're talking about. I've seen that. It's super cringy.
yeah, I was like, yeah, it was, yeah. And he was like, because we also talked about there was one, I think it was when they were still doing Green Lantern, Green Arrow, the both titles were selling so bad that they just put them in one book. And Green Arrow was in the hood, and not Green Arrow, Green Lantern. Green Lantern's in the hood, and he's like in Harlem somewhere, or whatever, wherever the Negroes dwell. And he was, this old black man walks up and said, I see you fighting for the green man and fighting for the red man and the yellow man. Why you ever fought for the brown man? And he puts like this whole white guilt trip on him, and then Hal's like, he hangs his head in shame and go, I don't know. And I was like, it was so cringeworthy, but Steve was considers Denny O'Neil a dear friend, and he didn't want to throw him under the bus. And I love Denny O'Neil, created Ra's al Ghul and all these, just great, like 40 years working on Batman and all this kind of stuff. Love him, but I thought that was kind of cringe writing to me. But there's like, I think you could do it better. Like have him, have Tim have sex with some of these ladies, and they could all of a sudden you could have like a United Nations of racial purity and all this kind of thing. You could have different, and then and when the characters switch races, they could like start popping their heads and snap it, get big hoop earrings and everything. I want you to make them real ethnic.
Like it just becomes like a complete stereotype.
Yeah, exactly. It's like Luke Cage, you drive, sucker. I'm gonna where my money, show enough. You can do it. I was like the whole thing. Matter of fact, I'm writing some of this shit down. I think this I have some ideas for a new book.
Yeah. Maybe Comicsgate needs a comic that's like, I'm going to get you, sucker.
Yeah, it would be like that, because I think that would be awesome. You get the right artists. I'm like, I would do that. I would do like straight up blaxploitation, and I mean, it would be like Black Dynamite or something. I would, because I love blaxploitation movies. So I didn't know.
Yeah, I think that stuff's a lot of fun. You might be the only artist or the only creator we have right now that could get away with it.
Yeah,
I would definitely read that comic. But can you imagine me trying to do something like that the way?
Oh, you get some heat. You definitely would get some heat. They'd be like, wait a minute, first Wenger does all these sexist tropes with women, and now he's writing this black guy, and it would be Wenger wrote "show enough" on the page. I was like, I would be first in line to purchase that comic, though. It would have to be awesome.
I'd say like one of the most underrated cheesy movies I can think of is The Last Dragon.
Barry Gordy. The Motown guy. With Bruce Leroy.
When you said show enough, that's what I thought about, because he's like, hey, yo, Leroy, am I the meanest? And they're going, show enough.
Yeah. The Last Dragon. Oh man, that's I wish I had the image. There was the guy that did.
He goes like Super Saiyan at the end. They're like, he
finds the glow.
He's like,
well, they both have the glow, because Show Enough has his glow. He has the red glow, and then Bruce Leroy finds the glow, and it's the golden glow, which is apparently it's like it's like the lightsaber colors in Star Wars or something. Yeah. Apparently, if you're a Sith, you can only use certain colors. If you're a Jedi, you have to use certain colors. So, like, in The Last Dragon, Show Enough has the red glow, and it's extremely powerful because he's able to whoop everybody until Bruce Leroy finds his inner glow, and it's the golden glow. And then everybody's like, oh my God. So you got this black dude with like weird afro sheen in his head, and he's like, he's glowing, and and then like he's fighting. Then finally, they're fighting, and then Show Enough's his glow shorts out like a fuse or something. And I'm like, if he's a master, shouldn't he always be a master? Now he might not be strong enough to defeat whatever, but why would his magical powers all of a sudden leave him? I don't know.
He couldn't stand up to Bruce Leroy. It's
Yeah,
like
but
that name for the character. And Bruce Leroy is like autistic or something. Like the only thing he thinks about is fighting.
yeah, he had the hot chick trying to holler at him the whole time. I was like, dude, what are you
It's like
doing?
a cartoon character.
Yeah, it's like always love stuff. I must have been about 14 or so, and we went to the Tennessee Performing Arts Center up there in Nashville, and they had a production. I actually went there a couple times because I went to see what was it? The one with Puck, Midsummer Night's Dream. I went to see that, but the one I was thinking about is Little Abner. They did a play for Little Abner, and now that I think about it, now I start to wonder. I was like, is Little Abner a gay dude? I think the way you see the play now, Little Abner, he kind of comes across as a dude that's not really, he's not into chicks. They had two different guys play Abner because he had to drink his mama's tonic. He's real country. I don't know if you've seen Little Abner or whatever.
Yeah, I don't really know. I'm not familiar with that one.
Oh no, it's great. So they're like these little inbred hillbillies off in like a little swamp town somewhere, right? And they make moonshine and all this kind of thing. And there's this little guy, Little Abner. He's like a 20-pound weakling, like maybe 30 pounds soaking wet. And but he loves the women, but he's a weakling. And so, especially this one girl he's really interested in, she doesn't she doesn't like him. And they go through this whole thing, he really wants the girl, and the girl's not interested in him. And then he hears his like some woman, I think it's his grandmother or whatever, she's got this tonic that all the men in his family have been drinking for generations upon generations.
It sounds like kind of like a hillbilly version of the Nutty Professor.
Yeah. It's like that kind of thing. So to get this woman, I think, matter of fact, if I'm not, it's been so long since I've seen it, but matter of fact, I think the woman made the girl that he had been trying to holler at, I think she gave him the tonic or something. She found it because she gave him the tonic. He drinks it and becomes like this huge buffed out muscle guy, right? He's like, boom, boom. And then all of a sudden, all the chicks want him. But now he's not interested in women anymore. It was weird in the place. So all of a sudden, the big muscle bound version of Abner, they were like, oh my God, he's perfect. All his muscles, he's taller. This is the perfect, he's an Adonis. And then they try to holler at him, and he has absolutely no interest in women at that point. And it was weird. And then he turned back into weakling Abner, and then they had to accept him for what he was. They had like St. Hawkins Day or whatever, where the girls had to go around grabbing the guys, or the St. Just like
Sadie Hawkins.
Yeah, they did that. And so like she like gives him the tonic, and then it's like, oh my God, yeah, he's muscular and he's beautiful. And hey, Abner, you want to come to the St. Hawkins dance with? Yeah, I don't care about you. Whatever. It was weird, but seeing that at like 14, it kind of shaped him. It kind of made me like, I wonder about that. That's interesting. But I was like, is he was he trying to tell them something? The muscular version of him, like I said, all these hot chicks are trying to holler at him when he becomes muscular. And then he's like, he's not interested in women at all at that point.
Like that potion is worthless because if it makes you this huge buff Chad, but then you're gay, that's just it's like a catch-22. Like there's no real upside there.
I sense a collaboration between myself and yourself coming. It will be the sequel to Super Harem. I'm calling it Pooper Harem. And
magic poop now.
yeah. So like, the tonic makes you not like the women. I think that would we could market it a certain way, and we could make it happen. So yeah, that would be awesome.
That actually might be like a funny bit to do. Like if there was some gay guy that had Tim's powers, and then it was just like pointless because he wasn't interested in women.
You know what? That actually, you could do a Super Harem sequel and completely, it would trigger a bunch of people, but you could do that with the someone else ends up having Tim's powers, and it could be, it could be a gay guy, and then like it'd be the same thing. That would be hilarious. It would be, it's like, hey, we're gonna turn everything up on its head and just, do the same thing, but it'll be, obviously a different take, and it's like, get a little some crazy jabs at some of these anti-confiscate people. It would be hilarious. Like,
yeah, it would be just like a Marvel reboot.
Put a little infamous cameo in there. And, yeah, it's like, he's all of a sudden, he's like, no, dear. It kind of made me think about what was it? I think it was the second to last Dave Chappelle, not this last Dave Chappelle special he did. The one where he talked about, he pitched this movie to Hollywood where he was, it's supposed to be a gay superhero. The whole, it was something in boots or whatever. He was like, that was the whole thing where he's trying to become a famous superhero, but he keeps, because he's a gay guy, he has all these different outfits. So every time he does something, he has to change it to another
hero.
Yeah, he is. It's like, so he's saving all these people, and the only thing that people recognize about him is the fabulous boots he wears, but all the rest of the outfit changes and stuff. It was Dave Chappelle told that joke, and I was just laughing my ass off and everything, because he's like, and then of course he told another joke that got people pissed off, where he was like, where he was talking about a superhero that saves people, but he can only save a life by like raping someone. To activate his powers, he had to rape somebody. it was like, they were like, but he rapes and he saves. And he rapes. And I was just
really
like,
have to be a very serious situation for like the trade-off to be worth it.
Yeah. I was like, I don't know. It's like, I actually got to see Dave. I think it was 2014. Dave Chappelle came to Nashville. He did 3 shows at the Ryman Auditorium, the historic Ryman Auditorium, home of the Grand Ole Opry. And he went to, he did 3 shows there, and I went to, I think it was the second show. And place was packed every night. I mean, every time he did a show, it was, it was packed. But I had an amazing time at the Ryman watching Dave Chappelle. I was good. Tickets were high, but I did not, when I walked out of there, I thought it was a great show. I didn't feel like I understand why he charges as much as he charges. He definitely earned it. So,
well, he's probably the best comedian in the world today. So if you're
that last special was great.
If you're the best in the world at something, you can charge a lot of money for what you're doing.
Oh, it's absolutely.
Like the Joker, if you're good at something,
never do it for free. Did you like those? I love those movies. That's why I was like, the Christopher Nolan. But so, I actually have come across a few people in the last few years that it's like, you know what, those Nolan movies are actually kind of overrated. I didn't really like them, and I was like, dude, the Nolan movies, to me, I loved them, but
I really like them. I think that if there's a weak link, it's the third one. So I don't understand.
You didn't like Bane?
Well, hey, I like the movies, but here's the thing about it. I'm just saying, in the 3, to me, it's the weak link. Not that I don't like it, but the thing is that I don't know what that character is in that movie. Like, Bane has been in the movies a lot, but it's never been the character from the comic. Like, it's always some kind of weird. I don't even know where they even got the character that's in that movie.
Well, that's it. That's interesting, because like he's definitely, Bane's been in especially like the way he was in, what was it, Batman and Robin, the one with Schwarzenegger.
Batman and Robin, like he's just a stupid goon.
Yeah, that was stupid. And the thing about that is they always mess up, and Bane's supposed to be, he's supposed to be as smart as Batman, or at least close on that level. He's not just some brooding thug. He actually has a brain, right? So
yeah, that's like the whole point of him.
And so, that's what, that was kind of fun when I had Chuck Dixon on, and we were talking about the, because they did, Bane, He's real smart. His father was King Snake, that also was created by Chuck Dixon. And I love that villain too. The blind, he's like blind martial arts crime boss. And Robin obviously takes him down after this dude was slicing everybody. He was just beating everybody down. But then Robin like sends him, crashing through the window of a big high rise, but he somehow survives that or whatever.
Yeah. I'm jealous you had Chuck on your show. I didn't know that. I've never got to talk to him.
Yeah, they it was him and Zach promoting the Expendables. Yeah, they were on. Awesome. Yeah, it was a good stream. Yeah, so which is on the creators playlist. Which this stream will also be on the creators playlist as well. I put all my little streams with different comic book creators on there, so you'll be on the. Yeah, so it's like, I've actually gotten lucky. Somehow I've gotten a couple people to say to come on. Like I said, I had Steve Englehart, I had Ann Nacini, Sanford Green, Jeff Smith, so I've Mike Barron's been on a couple times.
Freaking Frega is going to have Todd McFarlane on his show.
Yeah, I saw some of that. I was watching his stream this morning. I'm waiting I want to watch the whole thing because I'm a big mark for Todd McFarlane. I was like, Todd McFarlane is a hero of mine. I love him. So
anybody that's doing American comics, you have to respect Todd McFarlane.
Oh yeah, big time.
But I don't think I've ever been more jealous of anybody in my life than when I saw that tweet when he announced that. I was like, man, you're gonna have Todd McFarlane on your YouTube channel.
Yeah, jealous. Oh yeah, dude. Yeah, it looked like he's got a couple of really sweet interviews. I thought I might be mistaken. I thought I saw Mike Mignola on there also, but I had to go. I remember he had a couple of pros that I guess he had went to. I can't remember which con he went to, but he did a series of interviews with some of them. And so I know one, he had one on this stream the other day. I had to go back and watch, but I've been kind of busy trying to get packages shipped out and all that kind of thing. So but
are you getting close to getting it all out?
Dude, I had over 2,400 orders. I was like, I'm shipped out a couple hundred. I've still got a ways to go. I was like over 1,700 US orders alone. So
yeah, I'm gonna be shipping soon, but I only have like a fourth of what you got.
Yeah, that's why I'm like, my God. I was like, oh my God, what was I thinking? This is insane. But I mean, hey, we did okay. 78,000. Definitely appreciated people buying brands. So it's not a bad problem. It's a good. It's like I'm bitching about why do I have all these customers? It's like that's not a good thing. So it's like, hey, keep getting these books out, and I had a lot of backers that were very generous, and they bought some of them bought 10 and 15 copies, stuff like that. You get them boxed up, get them shipped out.
Comicsgate has great fans. They
absolutely. And there was I noticed when I was going through my back, there were a couple people that just donated money. They didn't even buy anything. They were just like, here, take another $25. And I was like, I had no idea that they just donated. But then when I started going through my list, I said, you didn't buy anything. And then I'm contacting them. I was like, hey, I noticed you just gave to. He's like, yeah, man, I was just trying to support. And I was like, oh, well, thank you. I was like, I said something. Let me see here. The King Crow. How about that Mignola? Okay, I gotta be honest. I love Mike Mignola. I did not love his take on Earthworm Jim, and I love Earthworm Jim. And
it seems like he just kind of phoned that in, like that. All right, here you go.
But he's getting heat for it anyway, though. And you had to know, because here's the reality of the situation. So you got Doug. And him and Sean Gordon Murphy, because I knew about here's the thing. A lot of people was like, how did Sean Gordon Murphy? Doug told me a year ago that the Sean Gordon, they had set this up a year ago. So, some people like, oh, Sean must not have known whatever about Doug. They've known each other for years. They met at a con, I remember. And Sean had a buddy of his that was an Earthworm Jim fan. Obviously, Sean said he was an Earthworm Jim fan as well, and he met Doug at a con, and he was talking on the phone and to his buddy, and he was like, "Hey, guess who I'm talking to? I'm talking to the guy that created Earthworm Jim." And asked Doug would he talk to his buddy on the phone. So I mean, this happened years ago. So Sean's known Doug for quite some time. They gave each other presents last year. Doug created a special watercolor for Earthworm Jim and sent it to Sean as a birthday gift. And then Sean sent Doug a page of Batman White Knight. I think it was page 5 or so. Bruce is like getting out of the limousine. You know, so it was a beautiful page that Doug just keeps by his desk, and just I was like, put that thing in a case and frame it up as a piece of art. And Doug's like, nah.
Well, yeah, they've been public about their friendship for a long time, and people were always on Sean Gordon Murphy, like trying to
get him to denounce
control him. And I don't know why he cared this time. Like they do it to him all the time.
That's what I'm saying. He knows Doug. They've matter of fact, that someone had actually pulled up an old clip. You know, when they was like, "Oh, Sean took a stand for his LBGTQ fans and friends." There's an old tweet from, you know, like at least a year ago. They were trying to get Doug to denounce, and it was something about people were saying that he was anti-trans. It's the same thing about him calling the trans reporter a man or whatever. And they were trying to get Sean to denounce Doug, and you know, he's like, "Hey, I have friends with differing opinions, all this kind of thing." You know, and so the subject had came up over a year ago. Privately, Doug had told me that Sean was going to do this cover for him a year ago, but you know, I didn't, you know, obviously I didn't give that. That was private information. You know, and Sean was under contract to DC, so he said, yeah, he agreed to do the cover, but he's got to get to that window where his contract with DC is expired, and then he's going to do the cover, and then he's going to re-sign a new deal. I said, oh, okay. Sure enough, and I love the Bigfoot Bill 2 cover that Sean killed that thing. The colors were beautiful on it and all that, but boy, they turned the heat up on it. And then also, and then he comes out and was like, "Well, I did not know the extent and such," and I was like, "That's weird." And you know, they talk to each other on the phone.
Yeah, that's bullshit. He knew what he was doing. You know what's funny about that too is the person who led that was Donnie Cates. And then in that call that Donnie Cates made, he was like, "I don't want anybody to lose a job." It's like, you just ran a freaking harassment campaign to deplatform Doug Tenable.
Oh, God.
Look at this weird tweet I just got from friggin' Amazing Adam.
Oh, God. Is he still around? I remember Doug used to put him on all the time.
Dude, this is out of nowhere. Like, I haven't heard anything from this guy probably for like a year.
Yeah, I hadn't heard that name in months. That's why I was like, seriously, I didn't even know he was still around, honestly.
He says, at Real Bebub, there's no such thing as anti-comicsgate. There are people that state objective truth, not a bunch of fat autistic losers that are fans of Ethan Van Sciver that protect Hatu wrongdoings. And at least I'm not a sex offender like Dick in comics.
Where's that coming from?
This is seriously out of nowhere. Like, I don't know what this is.
Well, that's the thing, though. You know, I started, you know, I was just sitting there minding my own business, shipping comics out. And then people started getting their books, and they were happy. And matter of fact, the first person to tweet that they got their brand comic was Doug Tenable. And then there was this guy, Zach Hawkins, who's a cherry. And he you know, he's like, "Well, Antonio blocked me for just asking where my comic was." And me and him had a little thing last year, but he does what a lot of those guys do. You know, you tweet something out or like say I like a tweet that Ethan sent out, and they go through and find out who liked the tweet. "Antonio, don't you have a late comic to work on?" It's that kind of thing. And they do that, and I go, "Oh, I'll go fuck this guy." And I just blocked him. I was like, whatever, dude. And so
I get that same stuff. But, you know, I mean, you're in the same position as me. Like, we're the writers of the book. So, like, once the book's written, there really isn't anything we can do to make it go any faster.
Yeah, that's I was like the whole thing is just I don't know.
Uh,
It's
like they act like that you're procrastinating when it's like, well, I finished my job. I can't make the artist work faster than he's doing if you want the quality that you were sold.
absolutely, and I would, King Crow in the is like, I'm not saying Doug is my enemy. I'm like, who's, Doug sent me, I bought Doug's books, and Doug sent me a page of Bigfoot Bill art, and I'm not saying Doug is the enemy. We definitely have some disagreements now, and
Yeah,
we've talked about that. We've talked about that a few times privately. We definitely have some differences of opinion, but he's not my enemy.
Doug
And
is just doing his own thing, and he's just moved on from all of this, and we just kind of leave each other alone. It's what it comes down to,
Well, yeah,
really.
and he tweeted out Brand when he tweeted out that he got his comic. He wasn't shitting on me. He was like, hey, Antonio, I got my book. Thanks, bro. It looks good. And I was like, I thanked him. So yeah, I'm not
Yeah.
against Doug, but he's done a few things that I was honest with him, and I was like, Doug, I don't like what you're doing there, brother. I got to be honest about it. And so that's. Oh, wait a minute, hold on. I lost him. Hold on, let me
I
get Winger
think
back.
my cat accident took me out of the
Oh,
show.
yeah, because I was like, wait a
She
minute, why
got
did I lose
like
Winger?
she won't stay off of my computer.
Yeah, but well,
Yeah, but look, we've sold some books, so I appreciate that.
well, that's awesome. And but no, that's the thing. I don't think Doug is not my enemy at all. I need to say that, but Doug and I have some differences of opinion, is particularly in where Comicsgate comes into play. So
Yeah, I
yeah.
don't want to
Same with
be
Mike and
fighting.
Edwin, and same with
Yeah.
all of because obviously Edwin and Mike aren't Comicsgate anymore either, and but you know, uh, I've heard from them at various times over the last a few months, and it's like, hey, well, I don't agree with this or whatever, and it's like, and we're not attacking each other, but I'm being honest, I'm not gonna lie. I was like, some of the stuff that you're saying against Ethan, I wish you would, and then they go, well, I wish Ethan would stop doing this or whatever. Um, I just they genuinely see it. Well, I mean, people do tend to see things from their perspective, and I was like, you know um Edwin sees things a certain way, and Ethan sees things a certain way, and Doug sees things a certain way, and Mike sees things a certain way. So when I know, like, back in last time I talked to Mike directly was in December, right before Christmas, and I talked to him for a little over an hour, and we had an honest conversation, but I was trying to tell him, uh, I, I agree with something John Malin had said a while back. He was like, look, even if you fall out with someone that's within Comicsgate, don't leave Comicsgate. Comicsgate is such a vast community, and continue to work within the community and continue to support other. You might have a disagreement with this person, but we're all on the same on the same page as far as what's wrong with the industry, what we're wanting to change in the industry. you know so you may not say, okay, you fell out with Ethan, but you're still Comicsgate. Continue to build Comicsgate in that, and build the community and promote other Comicsgate creators and stuff like that. Do your own thing, but still be Comicsgate. And Mike's like, yeah, I'm out.
Yeah,
So
I've seen that happen to a lot of people over the time, and it's like, look, Comics Gate just means you have certain principles, and they didn't change. So, and I'll be like, why do you want to leave? Like, you're walking away from a huge audience. They're like, oh yeah, but the people are putting dildos on my picture.
they were
It's
doing
like,
that before you left
yeah.
Comicsgate, by the way.
It's like, does that hurt you? Like, I don't understand what's the problem. Why can't you mute the thread and not look at the stupid meme?
Yeah, that's what the mute button is very effective, I would say. I don't know. And then, with Mike, what was it last year when he was like, well, if you're only following me because you're a fan of Ethan Van Sciver or whatever, it's like, I was like, oh, that's a misstep. why would you say that? It's like, I'm like, because there were people that even though they love Ethan, they were like, hey, I love Ethan, but I still love Mike. So I don't want to turn away from Mike because him and Ethan are having a disagreement. And then Mike did that, and they go, oh well, all right then, Mike. And they back off of Mike. So the whole thing, I don't know.
Hey, did you see this?
God.
Vicky says she's gonna have Ethan on her YouTube
Yeah,
channel.
he talked about that this morning. I saw some of that stream when he went over 500K. I'm looking forward to seeing that actually.
What? I mean, this person can't be good at making videos as friggin' spargy as she is.
Well, let me see. Hold on. Let me
I'm
see.
thinking this is going to be like when Infamous went on a stream.
Well, let me see. And let me King Crow. He hadn't done anything in a long time, but EBS won't let go, and he has gone full Orange Man bad and on Doug, and it's a little concern. I don't know if I agree with that clip that they showed where Doug is what was Thomas Roylup, and he was the one where he did that mayonnaise, the coin mayonnaise thing. I don't know if and then they got the clip where Thomas is admitting that Doug was the one that got him to buy the coins. I don't know. That seemed a little suspect to me, if I'm being honest. But
I feel like they both just talk about each other all the time, and so
absolutely.
I don't feel like that it's one side or the other. Honestly, I mean, definitely Doug is the one that walked away, but at this point, they're both just not letting it go.
Yeah, that's what I was like. Well, the thing I would say is I feel like Doug was. I know when Doug had expressed some frustration with me for going on Ethan's channel, I said, you know what, y'all, you guys are very similar to each other. And I was like, you want to win, and Ethan's very competitive, and he wants to win. So y'all are not. So, and the thing is though, Doug is at such a he doesn't by his own admission, he's like, I don't have I have a fraction, because what was the thing I heard him say? He's like, my channel's so small. So what if I say something? I'm so small, you should just ignore me.
Yeah.
And I don't do that. I'm gonna be like, if I hear some shit, you can have, you have 40 people on your channel, and I'm like, fuck you. I'm not gonna just be like, oh, so I was a little, my channel compared to his is so much smaller if I say something. And I mean, like when he has these streams of these people that all have beefs with Ethan, and they just sit there and so I don't know. So
all this stuff that Wilbur is saying is true. Also, he's got a lot of receipts over there.
That's what I'm just saying. Doug isn't pure as like I said, I'm not against Doug, but he ain't pure as the driven snow. I'm looking at some. I'm like, Doug, come on, man. Like, Doug's poking the bear. Doug, and Doug enjoys it. So I like I said, it would be nice if we could hit the reset button and everybody would just go to their neutral corners. But yeah, that's not gonna happen.
Yeah, look, King Crow, it's fine. Like for me, I kind of see this stuff like WWE, like we all talk a lot of shit, and it's kayfabe to me. Like I don't take it seriously. Like it's just, even Preston is all the time. Preston Poulter, Pocket Jacks is all the time starting stuff with me. I don't care about what he says. And we give a
block Preston the other day. I just got tired of it. It was it's too much because stuff was happening. It was like I don't follow Preston and he wasn't following me, but every now and again someone would tweet something, and all of a sudden I'd get a notification and he had came to my timeline and liked my tweets and stuff. And I was like, that's weird. Is he bothered? Because I'm like, he keeps doing the This Week in Comic Skate. So I'm like, is he going around looking for material for the? I thought it was weird. It's like, I don't know. It just kept popping. I was like, why is he coming to my timeline liking my tweets and stuff? It was weird. And I was like, finally, I'm like, all right, let me just block him. I was like, because just he was on my channel like 3 times last year. I actually liked him. We got along. I had him on. I think it was the last time I had him on. He was promoting White Lily 2. And then we got off the air, and later that night he told me he was going to be a guest on Young Ripa's channel, Eric July. At that time,
Is he on there? That's a huge channel.
Yeah, he was on there twice.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, he was. Eric July is in Texas, and Preston's family lives in Texas. He also has a home in California as well. So he was like flying back and forth between the place and stuff. Because I know he sent me like White Lily books, and they came from California, but he's also sent me stuff from Texas. So it was but Eric had asked him to be the editor on the comic book that he keeps mentioning that he wants to put out. I don't know if he's still planning on doing that, but
somebody might want to let him know that Preston is a complete psychopath.
Well, he hadn't been on in forever, so it makes me wonder. I was like, are they still cool? I mean, they were, they had each other's phone numbers and stuff because, Preston, like I said, Preston went on. This was like April. The stream's still up. That he was promoting White Lily. And he went on and he had the White Lily book on Kickstarter. And, he showed it on Young Ripper at that time had like about 103,000. Now he's got 183,000. But he had like 103,000 followers at that time when Preston was on for the first time, right? And he was on for like 2 hours and barely moved anything. He barely spoke. This was when he was trying to get Ethan to let him come on and stuff. I thought that was strange because I was like, Eric talks about comics and stuff all the time and, and all the different stuff. So I was like, man, this dude's about to go on there. He's about to sell a bunch of books.
Preston's such a weirdo. Like, he can't sell. Like, I mean, he's just a creep.
Yeah. Well, and like I said, and obviously, Preston, I'm not taking a shot. I'm speaking facts, dude. You went on a channel with 100,000. When the first time I went on Ethan's channel, he had about 70,000, and I made like almost $4,000 in just a couple hours of being on the show. That's a fact. That happened. So
yeah, I think that's about what I made on there too.
And so that's why I'm like, he was on with Young Ripper, and he may have sold a couple $100 worth of books. He didn't really sell much, and I was shocked by that. And then but the thing is, earlier that day, he had been on my channel and admitted, a couple of people backed him off my channel. They supported his book, right? So, which he acknowledged. And then, but he went, me and him talked because he was asking me about brand. He was like, so I checked out your campaign and obviously it's doing well. He said, but you don't have, at that time didn't have much interior art up. Most of the art on the page was just like, it was like the pinup stuff. And
he was giving you critiques.
Yeah, well, he was looking at it, right? So, I didn't mind that because, he was being honest. Like I said, we talked a bunch of times. I was on with him and Malin and Elliot Fernandez and Critius and Ben Jones and all, there was all, we had this big mega stream on my channel. And then I had him on again. And so, like I said, he was on at least 3 times last year. And because he was on Malin's channel. He was trying to court that, but Malin was under the impression he was Comicscape because, he's going on a show called Comicscape Presents.
Yeah. And then he come around and kind of stab Malin in the back as soon as he was off.
Whew. That was like, I just, it was, well, here's the thing. Hold on. I got to take this one because this one, I don't believe in this. It's like, I had to give it to President. He does have a book that Kickstarter would love. I see the hustle. I don't see the hustle because here's the thing. Maybe I'm wrong. Has any of the books went over 10,000 on Kickstarter? I don't think all the books I saw, they were like 67, around 7, 85, 86, maybe 9. I don't know. I had to go back and look, but I thought all his books were around in that range where he'd do about 8 or 9, maybe.
It seems like he's actually funding them himself because the books will be failing and then all of a sudden they get like a huge donation.
Oh yeah, I saw one of the war campaigns they showed where it was a huge, it was like somebody put, and they put a little bump on there to, like $500 or $1,000 or whatever. Somebody just put it, and that's the thing. So when he went on with Eric, who had over 100,000 subs at that time, he barely, like I said, he picked up a sale here too. And Eric apparently, he didn't shit on the book, but he didn't really love White Lily. He was just trying to help Preston out because the book he really loved was Preston's other book, Guinevere and the Divinity Factory, which I thought was it was the more marketable title. You got a nice redhead chick with big cans, and she's got magic powers, and there's demons and all, as opposed to a World War II story about a Russian fighter pilot chick that you made into a lesbian, although historically there were just rumors that she may have been a lesbian, but he goes, yeah, well, I put that in, I don't either way. So she wasn't really a lesbian.
Nothing about that sounds like it would make a good comic. Like, I don't know what it even is.
But as I said, I'm not, here's the thing. I think I like to remain consistent because I see people that love Doug's books and then they got mad at Doug. All his books suck. Doug's been successful for like 30 years. So there's a reason he's been successful and sold books and managed to get TV shows and stuff. So I don't want to do that. I told when I had Preston on last year, I thought Preston's books were very well done. Everybody on Preston's team are pros. He spent all kinds. Matter of fact, I know how much money I spent on brand. He was spending several $1,000s. That's why I was like, how are you making your money? Because it looks like your campaigns are only doing like $6,000 or $7,000, maybe $8,000. You know what I'm saying? And he said, the short answer is I'm not. He admitted that he was taking a loss on it, but he had aspirations because he's a screenwriter as well. And he had aspirations of trying to like sell the properties to Hollywood or whatever.
He's doing the same shit as these pros. Like, here's a huge problem in comics is people that aren't actually interested in making comics. Like, they see it as a springboard to something else. It's like, why am I buying something from you and you don't even care about it?
Yeah, well, that's the thing. So I'm like, okay. So he, like I said, I looked at because he sent me like PDFs of White Lily. I thought, like I said, he looked like he did a good job of doing research. Try to make sure that the planes looked authentic and all this kind of. I mean, he didn't get lazy with creating the comic book. As far as an independent comic book, the visual look of the work, the writing was decent. The artist was great. He hired Blonde, who had done a lot of good work over at DC. Blonde's an exceptional colorist. So Preston did not skimp on the quality of his books. The problem is he's kind of static as a personality. He's not very warming. He was telling me about all the success he has actually meeting people at cons and selling the book. So maybe when he's in front of you, he can talk to you and be real personable or whatever. But he comes across as very cold and condescending when he's talking on This Week in Comics, and then he's making the weird faces and all this kind of stuff.
The feeling I get from him when I talk to him is I'm like, this guy eats human skin.
Yeah. Oh God.
He's a skin eater. He just eats.
But like I said, he did not skimp on the quality on his books. He spent good money getting a good artist on the book. He spent good money on colors and the production, the quality. I mean, he sent me physical copies of the books, and I had him. He sent EVS, and Ethan even said, "Hey, the guy, did good books, but he wasn't patient." Because Ethan said, he said, "Yeah, you got good work. I'll let you come on." But he didn't drop everything. He wanted Ethan to drop everything that he was doing and put him on. I believe Ethan would have let him come on, but he started getting a little thirsty there after a while. Like, it's like like a dozen tweets or so. Hey, love to come on, showing up and hey, I love to boom, and all this, and but he, like I said, I let him come on, and we were friendly. And like I said, he looked at my campaign. He was like, well, he's like, how are you making all this money? How you don't have very much interior art there. You know, you've got a basic outline for your, you know, for the plot of your story. He said, yeah, the pinups you have are great, but I don't see your interiors. I don't understand, you know, how you're having all this success. You just saying that you're comic skate, or what is it? I was like, just saying I was comic skate when I had 2 other campaigns that failed miserably, but I didn't spurg out and blame comic skate for not supporting my book. You know what I'm saying? So he didn't understand how brand was selling. And he was like, dude, if I was making that kind of money on White Lily or Guinevere and he messed up on Guinevere and Divinity Factory when he put it on Indiegogo. He listed it in the music section. He didn't list his comic book in the comic book section. He listed it in the music because he was like, well, I'm packaging it. Matter of fact, I think that video is still up on YouTube or whatever. He had a short form video made. It's supposed to be live action of, you know, actress. He hired actresses and all this, you know, to play his characters or whatever. He did like a little Guinevere video. And so I said, you're selling a comic book. Why are you listing it as a music video? And then so he went ahead and changed it into the comic section. But by that time, it was kind of late. The steam had kind of ran out at that point.
Yeah, it sounds like he had a cool setup with the video and everything.
So yeah, it was the whole thing. I just, you know, it was weird. So I pointed out to him, but I know I checked my referrals, and I know I sent him like $300 something in referrals. I thought about $300 worth at least, from which he had, like I said, he never denied it. He said, yeah, he said, I went on Antonio's channel and people bought books. So I was like, okay, cool. So he didn't claim I didn't try to help him and everything, but like I said, we were friendly, and I did not realize when he was asking me why why my book was selling, and with barely any. He's like, there's just a couple of pinups up there in a basic plot, and you're successful. And I was like, I should have realized that he was hating. I didn't see. I thought he was just asking me questions. I was trying to help him, right? And he went on Eric's channel later that night, and he didn't use my name, but he threw major shade. And I was like, and it kind of pissed me off. I was like, because he told me, he said, hey, I'm going on with Young Ripper tonight. And then I was like, oh, cool, congratulations. And then he went on, and then he talked shit about, he's like, some people in comic, he said, I don't understand comic skate. Some people in comic skate, they're able to sell these books with, there's barely anything there. And then he's like, but it just seems like if Ethan will have you on, then everybody. And I was like, my success is a lot more complicated than that. So the whole thing, I don't know. I thought it was weird.
If you're a weird alien from like Neptune, it's hard to understand that a human being has like a personality and can relate to other human beings. And you're on here selling on your own platform.
Yeah, which by his own admission, he was telling me, he was like, because he used to come and comment on my YouTube videos and stuff. He said, I don't understand. He's like, man, he said, you just seem to be able to talk, and he's like, I hate making videos and I don't understand what to do. But now, like, you can tell, like, when he does his This Week in Comicsgate, he's a lot more engaged because he's like, I must destroy Comicsgate. So I'm doing this. So I make
he has a mission now.
Yeah. So now he's focused, because he was telling me, I remember him and Nasser at the same time, Nasser Abadi, and both admitted that they hated doing YouTube videos or streaming and all this kind of stuff. And you notice he does this writer's stream, and there's like flies fucking in there. There's nobody watching. And so when he goes This Week in Comicsgate, I look consistently down the list. When he goes to This Week in, when he does something shitting on Comicsgate, he gets a consistent 1,000 views.
Well, I love doing live streams, but I don't really like making videos that much, and it's hard to grow a channel if you don't regularly update videos. So that's where I'm weak.
Well, that's one thing I've been trying. I used to make the little short form video. It's just too much work, and then waiting on them to upload and doing all it. And I was just like, okay, well, I'll do streams. What I want to do, though, is I want to get somebody to go and take like little short clips out of like my, because there's some great streams where I think you could take clips and then just take those little 10-minute clips or whatever and put those up, and those would continue, to be monetized. And, because some people don't want to watch a 3-hour stream. but if you give them the sound bites, they'll watch that, So it's but that's the thing, when I noticed with Preston, because like I said, by his own admission, he was telling me he didn't enjoy the process of YouTube, but like I said, now he's on a mission. Now he's like, it's like, I found it. I found my voice now. I'm gonna, and he's doing his thing.
Raison d'etre.
Yeah. So so he's doing his thing now. So but when he does that writer stream, although I noticed the other night I tuned in, some of my frenemies were on there, so I tuned into the little somebody's like, hey, the dude made a video about you and all this, and he went on and he was like, hey, I'm going on with Preston. So he went on with Preston, and they were talking about Comicsgate, and they were talking about Ethan and stuff. But it was supposed to be the premise of the show is supposed to be about them going over a script, and it's supposed to be, I guess, for writers or whatever. But like I've noticed after the streams are over, he doesn't get much views on those streams. But like when he does, this week in Comicsgate, and he goes, oh, Ethan did this and blah, blah, and then all of a sudden he gets much higher views and engagement on those.
Well, all those guys on Kiwi forums like to watch that because they want to hate on Ethan all the time.
Let me see. Antonio, the people you want are watching 8 hours. Yeah, I don't know. I just I don't want to stream. Like I said, I don't want to stream that long. That's too. I've been on stream like when we closed out Billy Tucci's book, the Zombie Song. That was like a 6-hour stream, and I had like hemorrhoids and shit. And I was like, I sit there on my ass. I was like, God, this is a long stream, but love Billy and wanted to support. And I was on big long streams trying to promote Mike's shit when Mike was still in Comicsgate. Long streams for Doug when trying to get Bigfoot Bill promoted and stuff. We closed out Graveyard Shift 2. So it's like that was like at least 5 hours right there. But it's easy to do that for Malin because one thing I would say about Malin. He was class act. He thanked everybody that was on the stream when we got off the air, and then he sent me a DM and he was like, "Hey man, really appreciate you being there on the stream." And I thought that was class act, man. So I was like, okay, I appreciate that. I appreciate him going that extra mile and personally contacting me and thanking me for being on that stream for those hours. So
yeah, we all got a lot of respect for Coach.
Yeah, so that's like I said, it's the streaming and stuff. That's why I try to keep my stream. I keep them an hour and a half, something like that. Because, but even then, like I said, I think there's a lot of gold in this stream. I thought you and I have had pretty good conversations, so you could take little clips and do things, and so, like I said, he admitted to me that he didn't, enjoy the process of doing that. At least then, I'm sure that's changed now. Because, like I said, his This Week in Comicsgate or whatever, those streams and videos seem to do a lot better for him.
This Week in Comicsgate.
Yeah, it's just like the Hut. I know the Hut can get, when he does his like, hey, Little Caesar did this. It's the Hut. It's all that kind of thing. So he does his, and I noticed he gets if he switches topics, all of a sudden you see that shit plummet like the stock market. He can't just keep people engaged if he switches subjects. So eventually,
CG Raven has a question for me. It says, can you see when people are backing your books, or is it anon? I'm the only person that can see, and you don't have to worry about getting JD8 or whatever. Nobody else is ever going to say that.
Yeah. It's like, I just, that, like I said, the whole thing's weird, but that made me look, like I said, when I had Preston on that day, and then he told me in a couple hours he was going on with Young Ripper. So he went on, as like I say, he had him on twice, but he went on that first night after he had been on my channel. And he said, I don't want to say this person's name, but they had a campaign. They raised a bunch of money. And I knew based on the conversation that we had a few hours earlier, he was clearly talking about me. And so I was like, dude, I just had you on and people bought your books and you just shit on me, but you didn't say my name, but you shit on me. It was clearly me. and you were talking shit about Comicsgate.
As soon as he got on a bigger platform, he threw you under the bus.
Yeah, and I was like, so I sent him a DM, and I go, hey man, I noticed you kind of was talking, you throwing some shade on Comicsgate and all this kind of thing, and I didn't understand that. I mean, and he was like, he said, well, I don't think I was throwing shade, but I was trying to be honest. And I was like, all right, man. And then he was like, because me and him got along pretty good. I thought we were becoming friends. I thought me and Preston were becoming friends. So he felt kind of bad at that point. He was like, look, he said, if you feel like, I'll apologize or whatever. I was like, nah, man, if that's how you feel, then he was like, he said, look, he said, I'll tell you what, he said, let me text Eric. He said, let me see if he'll let you come on this channel. And he said, you should email Eric. He said, I mentioned you to him. And I was like, you mentioned me to Young Ripper? Because I love his channel. I love Young Ripper's channel. I was like, oh, wow, that's great. And, but he said, email him. And so I had to preview the brand, right? And I sent it to him. I said, I don't know. I said, I sent Eric, maybe I used the wrong email address. I said, and I think he gave me the email. And I was like, yeah, that's the email I used. And so I had sent Young Ripper the 21-page preview to brand, and I said, I had emailed Young Ripper about a month or so ago, and I was trying to see if he might let me come on, because I see him in Ethan. He was popping up in Ethan's streams in the chat sometimes, and I go, yo, Young Ripper, I love him. I told him, big fan. I follow him on Twitter, the whole nine, and I love his channel. And I sent it to him, and I was like, I don't think he liked what I read or what he read or whatever. He didn't like my work. So at that point, I was just like, okay, well, he just, I still like him. He just must not have liked brand. That's okay. And Preston was like, let me talk to him. So he texted him. And about a day or so later, he hit me back. He said, hey, I heard back from Eric, and I mentioned you to him. And he goes, oh, yeah, I know who that guy is. He sent me an email. I never answered him back. And I was like, okay, so now you told me what I kind of suspected. That,
so he didn't even look at it?
Yeah, he didn't, like I said, he didn't feel the need to respond. Which, again, not throwing shade on Young Rip. Again, big fan of his, love his channel, all that. But yeah, like I said, it's okay that he didn't like it or whatever. You know what I'm saying? That's one thing Ethan said. He said, people email me and stuff all the time and they get upset because I don't answer them back. I can't respond to thousands of people. And, so it's a hard thing to put your big boy pants on and not get your fifis hurt every time someone doesn't go, hey, you're a cool cat too, man. Why don't you come on? It would have been nice if Young Ripper said, hey, Antonio, why don't you come on my channel? But again, like I said, Preston reached out.
You got to imagine what it's like at that level, because even at our level, it's hard to keep track of all the people that are trying to contact you.
But yeah, that's the thing. But let me see. CJ Ray, he probably didn't fuck with you because of Preston. Yeah. But that's the thing. At that time, I know for a fact him and Preston were friendly, and like I said, the streams, I'm pretty sure the streams are still up on his channel. He even said that Preston was going to be the editor on his comic book. They were very friendly. They had each other's phone numbers, all that. So they were contacting each other. And like I said, I have no because somebody was like, oh, Preston probably never even mentioned, So I had somebody told me, they said, oh, Preston probably never even mentioned. I said, no, I believe Preston. I believe Preston went, because like I said, Preston was like, look, I'm sorry if you felt like I was taking shots at you. Let me talk to Eric and see if I can help you out and get you on his channel. Would that make everything? And I was like, look, man, we ain't got no beef, but if you could get me on his channel, that would be awesome. I'm not going to turn that down. He's got 100,000 subs. Why would I not want to go on his channel? I love his channel anyway. So once he, like I said, he hit me back and he was like, yeah, he said he got your email. He just never wrote. I was like, yeah, of course he did. That's okay. I was like, okay. Because I sent him the email independent of Preston. I had sent it to him, at least a month and a half before I had the conversation with Preston, and he just never answered me back. So I was like, oh, okay. And then and he was like, email him again. So I emailed him again, And he never answered me back again. So I was like, I emailed him after Preston told me to email him. So I sent him like 2 emails. He just never, I was like, he just didn't like what the work was. That's not a crime. So I was just,
Well, he didn't say that either. Like I was saying,
no, he didn't say anything. So
it's hard to keep track sometimes. Like maybe he never even got around to looking at it. CG Raven says, I want you to know I back like a motherfucker. We appreciate that, brother.
yeah,
Thank
definitely.
you.
Yeah, no doubt. Oh yeah, that's the thing, man. Because I like what you do. You know, you've been streaming and been promoting people, and and that's the only way we can do this. Because some people, I think they automatically assume that they're gonna do a book and then Ethan's gonna have more. Well, guess what? What if Ethan doesn't have you on? What are you gonna do
Yeah,
then?
he's one guy. He can't platform everybody. It's like they think that they're just going to go on there out of nowhere and nobody knows who they are. Like a guy like that that's got that many followers on
Yeah,
social media, like they aren't going to even know who you are unless you're in their circle because you're just getting so much coming at you all the time that
yeah.
you can't keep track of it all.
Yeah, that's exactly, and so like I said, but that was like I said, that was some of the last conversations I had with Preston after that happened. Although I think it was White Lily 4, he actually sent me like a limited edition copy of White Lily 4, and it was I think he said they only printed like 75 copies of it, so it's very limited. So he sent me one, and I was like, oh, he was like, hey, I'll send you
And
one. I was like, okay.
I bet that's worth like 50 cents now.
I don't know. I was thinking about reaching out to the rapper 50 Cent and see if he could sign it. And I think that would bring the value up. It's like, hey, this copy of White Lily. But like I said, it's I think he said he only printed, a very because it actually has. I think it was the Phoenix Comic Con, and it actually has the Phoenix Comic Con logo on it. And yeah, he sent me one of those, and so I don't know, but that's I told Preston, because once he went on Young Ripper, and I felt like he did that. I was like, dude, do you not understand by your own admission? Because that was one of the first conversations I had with him. He was like, well, I'm not gonna lie, I come from generational wealth. He told me he didn't just say his family has to read. He said generational wealth. I was like, okay, generational wealth. The fact that he would, he's not just, his family, he doesn't just earn a good living. His family, I always go back to the Chris Rock special where he said he talks about the difference between being rich and being wealthy. Because there's people that make decent money every year or whatever, but they're not actually wealthy where their grandchildren will be provided for. You know what I'm saying?
I don't think that Preston's ever had a job.
Well, I know he's a screenwriter, but I don't know what all.
I mean, he's not. He wrote scripts. That's not his job. He lives off his parents.
I know he gets an allowance. I know that. I know he gets an allowance, but I mean, he lives a pretty good lifestyle because, like I said, we used to DM, and he checked, he'd say, hey, he'd send me a DM and I'd answer back or whatever. And I mean, he was always traveling. And I know when I talked to him out there, he's like, yeah, I go around to a lot of, because we were actually talking. He said, I'm sure there'll be a con in Nashville. He said, I could fly out. He said, we could set up a booth and everything. He was, like I said, he was very friendly towards me. But I felt like he threw me under the bus. And I was like, why would you come on my channel? And we had a good, people bought your book and then you go, and like I said, he didn't use my name. But then he went on Young Ripper's channel and just kind of took a shit on me without saying my name. And I was like, that's interesting.
Yeah, I don't know. He's a weird guy. Like when I had him on my channel, like right.
I watched that. Was he drunk? He was drunk, wasn't he?
Yeah, he started drinking wine like crazy the whole time.
Yeah, it looked bad because he's always been sober on my channel. So I was like, I was like,
But he messaged me and he was like, "Man, that was so fun. I want to come on again." I was like, "Cool, man." And we were like all buddy. And then the next day he was right back to being like pocket pussy.
Yeah, it was like I said. Like I said, I had him on at least 3 different times. And like I said, we were friendly. I thought everything was cool, and like I said, he went on Young Ripper, and like I said, he kind of took a dump on me, and like I said, it was like little backhanded compliments, and he's like, I don't understand. He's like, they just put up a couple of pinups and a couple of paragraphs telling what their idea for a story was. He said, when I launch my books, I have completed books ready to
Yeah.
ship, and all this. And I was like, you told me your family is wealthy.
Well,
You, yeah, he's making books that he admitted to me that he was losing money on.
he's like kind of like the last remnant of like the old world before there was all this YouTube and stuff. Like now, people want authenticity. Like they're buying you as much as your product. But
Mm.
for Preston, like that's that old entertainment industry that was all about the fakeness and the glitz and the glamour. And he doesn't understand like that things are different now and he just can't figure it out. That
Yeah,
it's about being a real person and not this fake. That's another thing that Doug does wrong. And
yeah, I don't know. I noticed like towards the end of my time going on, Doug was like, he's like, yeah, man, you got to do a show. And, when he started putting the cardboard hats on and doing all this, and I was like, he dyeing his hair, and I was just like, okay, I I don't know. It doesn't come across as authentic because people see Doug and like especially like some of those streams that I was on with him on Ethan's channel, especially when he start having he had the little rye whiskey or whatever, and gets a couple of swigs in, and that's the real Doug. You start seeing he especially if he gets angry when he's
he
had a
starts
few
making
drinks,
Mike cry.
he gets a little mean spirited and all that, and like I remember talking to him about the mic stream, and he was like, well, I wasn't drunk. And he said yeah, I had a couple of drinks, but I wasn't drunk.
Yeah.
Alcohol affects your mood, though. It makes you act different. And so I don't know, all the time, like I've talked to Doug multiple times off the air. Hey man, how you doing? He's real friendly, all this guy, and outgoing person. And like I say, couple drinks, something dark there at that point. I know that'll piss Doug off that I'm saying that, but I mean that's just the truth. I'm just being honest. It seemed, and I noticed I had some friends that were act like that once they start drinking. And drinking alone is always, because I remember I got real. I suffer from depression. I've talked about that a few times, right? So I suffer from depression. Then I start drinking vodka, and it made my whole mood shift. And I was like wanting to hurt myself and do horrible things to myself. I was already depressed, and then I'm drinking this alcohol, and it's making me
Yeah, I
hate
think
myself.
that if you've been around long enough, we've all been in a dark place at some point.
So that's why I was like, I've seen Doug's energy change. He starts drinking, and all of a sudden, he seems like he gets a little crotchety, a little angry and stuff. And I was like, Doug, like you see Doug when he's not drinking, he's like, oh, hey, it's Doug show. Oh. He's like, he's trying to be more up. But boy,
Yeah,
like if he feels like you crossed him and he starts drinking, he can. I remember there was a stream he did a couple months ago. He got kind of mean spirited, and I think he realized he was embarrassed by it. He actually deleted the stream. He said because people were like, "Whoa, Doug!" Matter of fact, I think Ethan was in the chat. He was like, "Doug, you're drunk," and he was just saying all kind of horrible shit. And he took the stream down, and I was just, I was like, "Okay, Doug, come on, man, calm down. What are you doing?" And I was like, "Cause I've just noticed that sober Doug and slightly tipsy Doug are a little different. When he started, because like I said, he he got irritated that people were saying he was drunk on that stream with Mike. He was like, yeah, I drank a few, but I wasn't drunk. But I'm telling you, the mood shifts. His whole energy changes. You know, he drinking a little, yeah, I was drinking a little something, but you know, things got said, whatever, you know. And I was like, come on, man. It's like at that point, it's like 10 o'clock at night. And you know, because I know Doug tends to go to bed kind of early. I know it's like, you know, I know we used to talk all the time, seemed like around, like he try to be in bed before midnight at least, you know.
Yeah,
So
I mean, I have a day job. A lot of times I get in bed about that time.
and so, you know, even when he was working on like Bigfoot Bill 1 or he was working on Earthworm Jim, he tried, because I would be texting him and at like 5 o'clock in the morning. He'd be like, yeah, I'm getting up to do my workout, you know, and he would answer me back at 5. If I text Doug at 5 o'clock in the morning, he'd hit me back, you know. So that was a thing, you know. So he kind of keeps a pretty strict schedule when especially when he's got books in production. But like, yeah, when he gets to drinking, I gotta be honest, I don't necessarily want to be around Doug when he's been drinking a little bit, because I just noticed that, yeah, I was on a couple of streams when he seemed like he'd been drinking a little bit more than normal, and I don't know, maybe it was great radio or whatever, but I felt a little uncomfortable. I was like, no, I don't want to be. That's where because you know, he'll be like, yeah, I met Ben Affleck one time. Oh, I was at Steven Spielberg's house. Yeah, I made $1 million deal for this, and you know, I mean, and that's one thing I've had. I was like, you guys talk about $1 million like the average person has $1 million. It's hard to get $1 million. You know that's why when Ethan looks at the success and Zach looks at the success, and he's like, man, I've crowdfunded over $1 million. It's not easy to do that, folks. Guess what? So Doug can say he crowdfunded over $1 million, but he's also like, yeah, sold this property to a movie theater. I went to lunch at Steven Spielberg's house and he bought this, you know, and they gave me, you know, my agent gave me a check for $700,000. I was like, average person can't relate to stuff like that. You know, they're trying to pay their rent and their insurance and make sure that they can, you know, afford health care for their family. They just don't, you know what I'm saying? Average person can't relate to stuff like that. So like when you get someone like Preston, it's like, I don't need to brag, but I come from generational wealth.
That's just a really weird way to say it.
Yeah, I thought that was a strange line. I was like, who talks like that? It was like, Wenger, do you come from generational wealth?
I don't mean to brag, Antonio, but I come from generational wealth.
And I was just like, and then he just drops that out there. I was like, that's what I would go to Vegas and just drop that. I'd go to the bar and just drop that out to all the hot bitches that are at the.
Well, I can tell you this, like what you were talking about, how there's a difference between being rich and being wealthy.
Absolutely.
Like, both of my grandpas were super rich dudes, but that didn't affect my life at all because they weren't that rich that it spilled over to me.
No, I've got a buddy of mine, and he, you know, me and him were talking on the phone, and he told me his dad's worth like $3 million.
Yeah.
He's like, my dad's always done pretty good. He's worth about 3 million. And I was just like, but 3 million to you know, someone that's worth like say 50, $70 million, they're like, oh, that guy's, you gotta be careful, he could be broke. You know what I'm saying? If I only have $3 million, I wouldn't be trying to spend money like somebody that's got $70 million.
My dad's dad, I don't even know how much money he had. He was at least a millionaire, but he was like this weird slumlord. And he had this idea that demons would come into your house if you had a hallway. So he built all the houses in his slum like a little box where all the rooms led into the other rooms. And I remember I was like 16 or 17, I guess, and he was bragging to me about how efficient his box houses were. He was like, I built these houses for $20,000 each. And
well, see, that's the thing. Like when I was working for Amazon, I encountered so many people that were making $200,000-$300,000 a year, man. And you know, Amazon was paying me like $35,000 a year. and they would just casually like, yeah, I made like $250,000 last year. Like it ain't nothing. I was like,
Yeah.
I was like, do you not understand? I had a guy show me his bank account. He had like 40 grand in his just petty cash account. And I was like, that's more than I'm making a year. It's just sitting in your bank account. And he's like, oh yeah. And I got my 401k. And he said, I've got like $60,000 in stocks put back and all this kind of stuff. And I was just like, I've got a couple houses and they travel and they're living a better lifestyle than I, it's like, I'm sitting there going, after you've been making that kind of money for so long, you just, it makes it, you get attached, you get detached and you can't relate to the common man, as they say, and
I guess you kind of became like
are you doing share screen? Hold on.
Yeah, I found a cool meme. Like Preston got a wig.
I was like,
yeah.
Oh,
I guess you become out of touch, I guess, with reality, kind of. That's what I couldn't think of that word for some reason.
Dude, that's why I was like, dude, I was just a few years ago, I had gotten a notice and I was about to be sleeping. You know what I'm saying? I had like, maybe $100 in my bank account and, checks were bouncing and shit, all kind of, thing, I was like negative balance and, I was about to like be thrown out on my ass and have to sleep in my car. It was that kind of shit. And, so it's weird to me when someone, like I said, if you're successful, man, I ain't a hater. I'm not, I don't down anybody's success, man. If you worked your ass off and you got that and you earned that, then that's what it is. And I respect that. But man, some people are so out of touch with like I said, he just dropped that out there like it was casual conversation. And I don't know. I've met some, met a guy named Henry Dodge. I used to work for. He's actually he was listed as like one of the 10 wealthiest men in the state of Mississippi, and he owned a series of gas stations. He had a gas station franchise. They said his family was worth like $70-100 million, something like that around there. Him and his brother, and I mean they were wealthy. He seemed like a really down to earth guy. I mean, he wasn't flashy with his dress. He was just a regular, you know what I'm saying? He wasn't. It's like when these rappers get money, they get the bling chain and they start, everything's iced out diamonds. And like I said, they might only be worth $3 million. And this dude's worth like $70 million. And he just had a regular sweater on and casual slacks and just, decent watch. He wasn't going, he had enough money to buy and sell me 20 times over, but he wasn't throwing it in my face. So that's why I was like, it was weird when I had that conversation. And he was like, yes, I don't mean to brag, but I come from generational wealth.
Well, that guy you're talking about isn't insecure, so he doesn't have to like throw it in your face.
That's why I was like, yeah,
pocket pussy does.
And so I was like, that's an odd thing to say in casual conversation. I was just, so, but like I said, I wonder how that would work. I go up to a bar and just hitting on women. Hello, I come from generational wealth.
Well, there is a certain type of woman that would work on,
and I'm okay with that if she's going back to my hotel room. I'm okay with that. As I say, trust me. People say, Antonio, you've lowered your standards. Antonio never had any standards, so I'm okay with that. If you're willing to spend the night with me, then I come from generational wealth. So that's hey, that's what it is. So Infamous, I'm talking to you, baby. Yeah, there you go. All right.
Infamous comes from generational wealth, and now she's living with raccoons in her wall.
Is that okay? I'm missing something. Does she really have raccoons in the wall, or is that? Is that a
That's
meme or
what she
something?
said on her live stream. She was talking about that she was in this apartment and there was a raccoon living in her wall.
I need to introduce her to my friend Anna that raises the pet coons and stuff. It's like, it's like let's baby raccoons suckle at her teat. It's like, because she sent me I said this on Ethan Street. She sent me a picture because I was like, yeah, send me a boob shot. It's like, let me look, let me see what you're working with. And she sent me a picture, and there was this raccoon nuzzled. It was it was clearly her ample bosom. She had like at least a full C, but the raccoon mouth is around her nipples. It was not very sexy, and I was like, "Why is this raccoon sucking on your teeth?" It was weird.
Mm.
It was not. It definitely was not sexy. But then she sent me another picture. It was different.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, but I was like, yeah, get the raccoon off the boob. It was. It did not turn me on the way I was
I'm not
hoping.
you're not into raccoons.
No,
That
I
doesn't
am
do
not.
it for you.
I was like, I am not. Well, oh my God. Winger, this has been very fun. I've enjoyed having you on.
I appreciate it. I had a good time too. You'll have to come on my show.
Oh, please let me
Yeah.
know and we'll set something up. I'd love
Anytime.
to.
We have a regular schedule, so we stream Tuesday and Thursday night from 8 EST to 10.
Oh,
So
okay. Yeah, well, like I said, just let me know and yeah, send me a link. I'll hop on. That'd be cool. But tell folks how they can reach out to you on social media, all that good stuff. I see the
yeah,
real big up.
yeah, this is my handle on Twitter, so that's easy. And I saw your mods were putting my link in there, so
Yes, sir.
you should have all the information that you need. Or besides, there's one thing, alldrake.com is going to be my next big campaign.
Oh,
So
okay. When you
once
launching that?
once Super Harem is in my backer hands, I'm going to be launching that. So it should be really soon. So if you go to alldrake.com, you can sign up for the email list right now, and you'll get a special limited edition Aldrake playing card. I'm making cards for all my campaigns. They'll eventually come together, and you'll be able to play a game with them.
Okay, okay. Well, that sounds good, man. Well, as for me, I'm on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and right here on this YouTube channel. They're all at a Card Press. Type in cardpress.com. It takes you to brand Way of the Gun. Over $16,000 raised so far. Thank you guys for that. Obviously we've run this campaign slightly different. But things are we're going to be adding more stuff to the campaign very shortly. Check out Teespring store, our merch that's on Amazon.com. You guys keep supporting that. We appreciate it. I am going to have another stream with Kanan probably within the next few days. He'll come on so I can yell at him some more, and then people can watch him draw all the weird stuff that he draws. But hey guys, back Super Harem. This variant looks really cool, and as he said, it's only going to be up for a couple weeks. So get that. The links in the description, guys. Thank you guys for supporting these amazing comic book creators. Hell Comicscape. I'm out.
Hell.